Ones we can depend on. Friends.
Welcome to Common Sense Season 3, Episode 1, titled Friends with Money. And I don't know if you could recall, maybe one time you went to the restaurant with your friends, and when it came time to pay the bill, things got very silent, or somebody had to go to the washroom, or something just happened. And we want to examine our relationship with money among our friends and how we could successfully navigate our friendships and our finances. And with me this afternoon is another all-star studded cast. You know, for my episode ones, I always bring the best. Last season we had Chevy and Kobe and all the others. And this season we have Elsie, Shamar, Dwight, Keoma, and Miracle. And I'm pretty sure that all of you guys know these amazing people who are doing major things in Guyana, but I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. But before they do that, I just want to shout out our sponsors this afternoon, Lucozade Guyana, who's been on board from the very first season, Reminiscent GY, M&M Snucket, and of course, Georgetown Capital. And I can assure you guys that this season will be an amazing season. We have some really wonderful episodes in store. So ensure that you tune in every Thursday night at 7 on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And ensure that you share the live stream. And in the words of Sharon Duncan, share the damn live stream. All right, so we're gonna open the session this afternoon with just some short introductions from our guests. Generally, I don't introduce my guests. I allow them to introduce themselves because I feel as though they might be the best ones to introduce themselves. So we'll start with probably the most handsome guy on the panel.
My name is Keoma Griffith. Yes, it's me. I'm here. True and living color. Of course, it's a pleasure being here this afternoon with
you don't usually get introduced like that.
less handsome people. Over to Shamar.
Hey guys, so my name is Shamar Spooner. I'm an events and marketing coordinator. I'm also an entrepreneur, and also I'm the creative director and founder of Filling the Void Art Show.
Dwight?
Good day, everyone. My name is Dwight Dodson, and I'm basically a jack of all trades. I've never tried to say I'm this or I'm that because I leave myself open to everything. All right. So.
Elsie?
Everybody, I'm Elsie Harry, urban and rural planning professional, social entrepreneur, most importantly, a good friend for all my friends that are watching. You already know, I'm also a fashion enthusiast and I love interacting with people. Hey.
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Miracle Miller and I'm a geologist and an active volunteer. I enjoy giving back to the community and I enjoy interacting with nature. That's why I chose the field that I chose to study, so that I can interact with nature and with people as I go along my journey through life.
Excellent. So, I don't know if you guys can recall, but in high school, I don't feel as though many of us were aware of our financial situations. And if we were, it was to a very limited extent. I could remember eating tennis shoal and cheese with my friends, playing cricket, football, and those were generally the fun activities that we participated in. Right? And none of us ever, even though we knew that we had different financial situations, it was never prominent or expressed, or, you know, it didn't weigh on you as much as it may when you reach adulthood.
True.
And I want to begin the conversation with talking about how the shift from high school and childhood to becoming an adult has affected you personally before we even transition into how it's affected our friendship. So anybody can share a bit about how that shift has been. When you realize you're an adult now, you're in control of your own finances and your destiny. What was that like?
think for me, it was a big shock because I moved away from my parents when I was about 21. And I started to rent my own apartment. I started to live by myself. And I was like, oh my gosh, detergent is really expensive. Like, I had no idea I had no idea that certain things cost so much. I also did not realize how wasteful I was. Because when I was living at my parents' house, you could eat what you want, you could use what you want. They have to buy it. Like, I had no concept that I was just such an expensive person to take care of. So I became too expensive for myself. And I was like, okay, Elsie, take a step back. You've got to correct this. So like me transitioning from being a teen to becoming an adult to living by myself, paying for my own things was just like a whole shock for me and like a snatch yourself kind of moment and get your act together.
For me, they were kind of like two shifts. One, when I transitioned from high school and being so dependent on, your parents and your relatives to go to school. It's like their responsibility to send you to school. Yeah. But like when it's time for, your tertiary level of studies, of course, everybody doesn't pursue a tertiary level of education. And some persons go and work and study. And fortunately for me, I didn't have to work and study, but I did feel the pressure of, I did understand the pressure that my folks were under in trying to ensure I continued in tertiary schooling. Even when I went off to Hewitting, I know about carrying onions and garlics from Guyana to Trinidad because I can't afford it. What? I took flour, because you can't waste your money because you got to save money for rainy days, so. But the next big shift was the ghetto one. Like, that was the one where I was like,
The work life.
whew. When you start working and making your own money, you're like, I'm like, light. And like, you got to contribute. I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't like this place. But it in a way, it kind of forced me to, I don't want to say grow up, but like I had to mature. I had to have a mature financial thinking of things that, hey, like you really are now in control of your finances. And if you don't watch yourself and take care of it, you could be in a very bad place. So the second one for me, which I'm sure all of you, once you're working, you have experienced it, is the ghetto one. Yeah. But it also prepares you. If you manage it well and you transition well, you could be well off.
Define well off. Because we really talk about that.
Well, I'd say, so I would definitely think that I'm the youngest person on this panel here, right? So I think my experience would definitely be a bit different, all right? Because when I was in high school, I mean, like, you would have said, you didn't really feel that it was so, the prominence of, okay, this person maybe have a little more money than me, because you weren't really focused on those things at that time. That's fine, all right? But as you get older, and I got a bit more self-aware and everything, when I transitioned, because unlike you, I actually worked and studied at the same time, right? So like I had to end up contributing to bills and that type of thing as I got older, and I was like, okay, so because all the time you would think, okay, let's just say I started working for like $70,000, right? And in my head, when I first started working, I was like, yeah, this is a lot of money, good. This is perfect. I could party all the time. I could do whatever I want. But then when you realize what food costs, you realize that you got to contribute to the house and these type of things, you're like, oh, so I definitely need to put a budget or something in place. And that's where I started, because to be very honest, I would say I started life a bit early because I always wanted to be independent, all right, at a very young age. So I always tried to make, or try to gain new ways of making money and, just become self-sustainable as much as possible and stop depending on my parents. They could definitely tell you that. So I would say for me, it started very early, and I had to learn in some kind of way to like budget as much as possible. Yeah, at a very young age. So yeah, I'm not gonna say my age though.
I was waiting to hear.
Well, I was just about to say, you said you're probably the youngest here, but that's probably my age. I'm the youngest at heart. I'm gonna be honest here. It was during this same week I actually realized, like, the shock you guys are speaking about, that I actually realized that I'm an adult. Like,
This week, girl.
no, I'm serious. Like, so if someone would ask for the adult in the room, I might look for someone older. But then I saw someone's age, like their dates of birth, and I was looking, and the person was supposed to be close to 30, but I was born the year after them, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. I'm not close to what? I'm close to 30? Okay. But for me, it wasn't really like a shock that much, because I used to get a small allowance from my father. And my mother was always behind me. Budget your money. Budget your money. But I like to eat. So everything I got, I would say, like, for lunch, I say, if I have extra money in school, I'd be like, y'all want churches? And everybody say, yeah, we go on, we eat churches. But when I got...
Yes, definitely.
But when I got older, like, I voluntarily chose to work. And I was working and studying for tertiary. And I said, okay, mommy, I'm big now, so I can help you pay these bills. So I used to take out, yes, I used to take out from my salary. I said, okay, I'd help pay the bills. But then, like I said, I wanted to eat, like, all the fancy stuff and everything. So mommy would collect the money and she said, did you budget this money? And I said, yes, I did. But when I went back, before the end of the month, and I was making over the average public servant salary, but I would still go back to my mother and say,
Can I have that money back?
yeah, could you lend me some of the money that I gave you? And we sat, and at the end of the year, every year, my family, we sit together and we discuss what happened through the year, what went wrong, what we'd like to do in the new year that we can perfect. And one of the things that we spoke
that.
about, yes.
I've never heard of that. Financially, like a financial...
Everything. Like, if you had...
Yeah, me too. Me too.
No,
I'm just
it's
like, me to me.
No, it gets really uncomfortable because, like, if you think you've gotten over something, let's say I had a squabble with my brother early in the year. Sometimes in that meeting, it comes right back up and then we go at it again. But we know that the 1st of December, we're leaving that there. So everything has to come out. Everything has to come out.
Very healthy.
And then you say your plans for the new year. So one of the things my mother said to me at the end of the year, she said, I don't like the way you're spending your money because it makes no sense. You're working for more than average and your savings is not reflecting that. So I was like, okay.
It's also important though, because I feel like as when you're earning your own money, you don't like people's perspective on how you should spend your money.
But if you're living in their house
Oh yeah,
and eating their food,
you have no choice. But then that there's also a maturity in that, in the sense that I don't like to discuss my finances with people. I don't like people to ask me how much money I make.
Not even
I
parents?
don't like.
Not even parents?
No.
Definitely.
Sorry.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
if
you guys are secretive.
I feel like if and like I'm the kind of person, like if I have a duty, if I got responsibilities, like I ain't even gonna burden somebody else with it. Like I'm not gonna let you know how much I got, what I got to find and all. I like we would have a general
Let's get it
meeting,
done.
me and myself. We'd have a general meeting. I try to plan and figure it out. But that is a good recommendation indeed. It might be good or healthy to hear somebody's perspective on your finances.
Yeah, because they could like snap you back into it. Sometimes you don't even realize.
How much you're actually spending, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Important with what you said is that when you make above average and what the normal persons or public servants so would make, when you recognize that, then you see these people are living on this here, but yet me who's making more, I gotta live on all of this here. So what am I doing different, or how is it my needs are so much more than the ordinary man? You understand? Well, yeah.
I think about it all the time, and somebody sang a song named More Money, More Problems.
I don't believe that. No, give me more money. I want more money. No, I don't want to.
But my thing is though, like, okay, so I get that the whole, you definitely need to save and everything, right? But how I try to live my life as much as possible, right? Like, while not being reckless, I still believe in myself that I was meant to live an abundant lifestyle.
That's what God
right? Right. I feel right? Because as far as we know, you have one life to live. As far as we know, right? And I personally don't believe that I should just be making ends meet. So I try to live, not just exist, but live as much as possible.
Of life that you live is important as well, yeah.
Because a lot of times too, so I used to work at a bank, right? And this is one thing that I learned, right? So I used to work at a bank and I was a teller. And one of the times you would see some people come into the bank and they would have all like a little old slipper, tear up pants and a market bag, right? And they're going to come in and they're going to be like, just check my account for me, please. And it's about $40-50 million, just like that, right? And then my supervisor would come and be like, okay, you see these people, yada yada yada. They're like, you see how they dress and da 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 da. But then you think about it, what's the quality of life this person is living? Because if you like, a lot of times they're probably just eating one thing for 3 square meals. They're not doing any kind of extracurricular activity. They're not really living. They're just saving. But how beneficial it is for the quality of your life, that's my thing. So I guess it has to be a balance.
Yeah, this is important because on the other end of that spectrum is people who are just spending all of their money on upkeeping the lifestyle, keeping up with the Joneses, and then they don't have any money.
Some people take solace in having peace of mind and comfort that they have that kind of security if something happens.
Yeah.
They live normal, but they know if something happens.
They have the money, and they're also probably planning for their generation.
They're gonna wait for a grandson who needs to go to study or.
Yeah, so I think balance is important for me. Yeah. I don't want to spend less. I want to earn more.
Exactly.
Because I don't think that I spend excessively. For example, right now I'm on a no shopping 2022, guys. I'm not.
I mean, the year's almost finished. So
yes, I did well. I've not bought any clothes, any shoes, any accessories for the whole year.
Wow.
Yes.
Can't do that.
And it's because last year I went through the process of realizing I have a lot of stuff. I've just got a lot of stuff. And I'm literally looking at my money in bags, shoes, clothes, but like, what does that really profit me? Yes, I look cute, fine, but what does it really
But then having the actual money doesn't profit you anything either.
Yeah, but what am I gonna do with the money? That's the thing. But
it's more than just having the money.
I watch this video and they say poor people buy stuff, right? And I was buying stuff. They say that middle class people spend and they save. And they say that rich people or wealthy people invest. So I was like, okay, I've got to transition myself from being a poor person who's just buying stuff. I think now I'm moving towards the middle class where I'm spending on like my expenses and I'm saving some money, but ultimately I want to be wealthy. So I'm rethinking what I'm doing with my money. And the truth is, I don't need all of those clothes. I have one body.
Yeah, my thing is definitely to...
Don't even say it's poor. You're going to keep buying that clothes.
No, I was not about to say I'm going to stop buying clothes. I was not about to say that. My thing is,
I think I share Shamar's sentiments. Like you just like nice things. You just can't help it. Like how?
Right, I believe more in trying to earn more rather than focusing on spending less. That is how I try to live.
Did you not? In about 2019 or 2018, right? I looked back at my bank statements and I realized I spent at least, let me call the figure, but it was 6 figures on clothes online.
That's ridiculous.
On clothes. I'm telling you, what?
6 or 7.
6 figures. 6 figures, but just on the 7, right? And no, I look back and I'm like, what? Craziness. Because I spoke about two shocks earlier, right? The one where you transition from high school into tertiary. The one when you start making money, you gotta start. But for the benefit of the young ones like Miracle and Spooner, right? And Matthew, right? And everybody else, the third one. The third one, right? Which I'm sure you have experienced, is when you want to go for your dreams, when you want to, please prepare for it. When you realize that there is somebody or an entity or a facility that you have an agreement with every month, and you have children, and you can't give them back, and you can't go back, that is where it's like, wow. So now experiencing that third shock, and now looking back, I'm like, there's no way I would now spend that amount of money. Like, I kid you, one time I bought 4 suits.
Some Harvey Specter
4 suits.
boy.
Oh, well, I mean, if you follow me, if you're on my fan base, you know, once I'm wearing a suit. But it's crazy. I wouldn't do that now. I would make a lot more financially wiser decisions and so on.
That's the stage I'm at.
I think. I remember I said just now it wasn't really a shock to me because the way we grew up, it was to be content with what you have.
Very conservative.
Yeah, it's like you can have more, a little more, but no. So the clothes things, I'm like the fashionista thing, no. I can have like the same for last year I had 2 pairs of heels. And I was like, wow, I need to give one away because
You need to give one away because you got 2?
yeah, because I prefer flats and I'm not using it and somebody else could use it. So it's like we always I grew up giving back to charity. Even though you might need, I learned that someone else needs, like put more ease in the word needs. So it's like everything I think about, I think like, okay, if I see I have some shirts hanging in my closet for like 5 months and I haven't touched one, it goes in the giveaway basket.
I do that as well.
I am
do that
not,
as well. Yeah.
I cannot look at things like the shoes. I'm gonna look at you and I'm gonna be like, you enjoy rot giveaway, because I know someone else probably doesn't have. And they're gonna wear that shoe that I'm just looking at and passing every day.
Yeah.
They're gonna wear it every day, and that shoe will be like probably where it needs to be. So like the clothes thing, the shoes, the accessories, nah. Somebody look at me and say, she in the bag again? Yes,
It's
me in
yours,
the bag,
baby
it's
girl.
mine.
But I personally believe that everybody has something. It doesn't necessarily have to be clothes. Like everybody has something that they give that they spend a lot of money on.
It just means food.
Good. You see, so everybody has their thing. I think that they would. Yeah, everybody has their thing that they would splurge on.
In a smaller way though, clothes is my thing. But I'm not too extravagant on it, but I think that's the thing that I would spend the most money on unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, just like you were saying your suits and so I might go and I might buy 5 shirts, 100,000. My wife would be like, what? You know how much things I could get with this money? You only come with 5 shirts? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But that's my thing. I don't go overboard with too many other things, and I try to keep it on a low level for that as well. But I wouldn't spend so much money in too many other things other than clothes, yeah.
I think Miracle brought up some very important points that we will touch on next week. And I want you guys to ensure you tune in back next week. We'll be tackling family and money. And she's already shared some situations with her family that affect her until now. The conservative aspect is she's just not conservative suddenly, but it's something that she was taught from a young age. And it's very difficult to break. I wouldn't say it's a bad habit, but break the habit in general. But I want to touch back on something Spooner mentioned about the soft life, the abundant life. You see a lot of persons talking about the soft life on
Recently, yeah.
and sometimes,
Yeah.
what's the soft?
The soft life is where you live a life of peace and calm, no struggle.
Like you avoid all negative.
Yeah, and you want to enjoy your existence, but there has to be balance in it as well.
Excellent. So the soft life, the abundant life. Now, hard. In your friendships, are there persons who have different financial situations? Are you aware of it, one? And sometimes, so for example, let's say you're a geologist or a big lawyer or a big urban planner or a big events and marketing coordinator or a jack of all trades. And
A big deal in general.
you may have a friend that his or her passion is being a teacher. And as we know in Guyana, the salaries
Yeah.
of teachers are not exorbitant. And you might want to go Marriott every weekend, but your friend really cannot afford to go Marriott every weekend. How do you navigate those situations, and has there been any instance whereby it may have caused a sour note in the friendship, or you may have lost the friend completely?
I think that my friends and I are more or less at the same place financially. I don't think that any of us are rich. We want to be, we aspire to be, but we're not there yet. And none of us that are like in this place where we're like absolutely struggling to make ends meet. My best friend, for example, she's a teacher, Marva. But I'm also a public servant. Recently, I became a public servant, guys. So I think that we're more or less at similar places in terms of our finances. And so even if we weren't, I think that you pick your friends based on who you are, what are your values. So I don't think that I would gravitate towards friends who like to splurge and just want to eat at Marriott every weekend, because I know that for me, that's not realistic. So I think maybe you should, if you have these huge gaps in your friendships and you're struggling to meet that standard where your friends are, maybe those are not the friends for you to have, unless those friends are trying to teach you how to reach to this income bracket where you could do what they're doing if they want to bring you along. Other than that, I don't know that you're in the right friends group.
So I feel like if in a situation like that, if you could strip away all the material things, the dinners, money, all those things, and if you can examine the friendship, and if it's still a genuine one, it's a friendship to keep, regardless of if there's an imbalance with earnings or income or whatever. There are people who like to splurge. That's just like Spooner. And you can't run from them, right? There are friends I have who you'll be good and they will call and be like, okay, let's go to dinner, let's go to Marriott. And sometimes those activities are good for you. It allows you to, gain perspective, and it's a part of living the soft life and enjoying life. Right? But also, living within your means and having a friend or somebody understand your financial circumstance when you can't afford something, or when it's going to be tough for you to participate in something at a certain time, is also very, very important. And those are also friendships when persons can understand those circumstances. Those are also friendships.
Let's be realistic. How many times do you see a friendship where somebody can afford to splurge all the time and they're a big spender and whatever, and they want to go out with you, your friend, let's say maybe 3 times in the month, and one time you say, okay, maybe I can just go 1 time in the month. Is it usually the case where that friend goes, oh, I understand, you can stay home, no problem? Most of the times those friends are like, man, you can come, you can just have 1 drink, you don't have to spend so much money.
There's like an rule. It's like a rule. Like if I initiate something, I have to be prepared for any eventuality. Correct. So I can't call Spooners like Spooner, you know, let me go buy egg ball, man, and not be prepared to buy paper Spooners 2 egg balls. Spooner would tell me, let's go to Marriott, and he will pay for us at Marriott. But it's kind of like an unwritten rule, kind of.
Who subscribes to that
Is
unwritten
it?
rule?
It
Very
isn't.
few people. Very few
Listen,
people.
it isn't for me because you might think that it's an unwritten rule. And some persons in my family would say, don't invite persons if you're not prepared to foot the bill. However, how some persons have grown up is that if they say, let's go out, their unwritten rule is that everybody pays
Paying for
their
themselves.
own meal.
Well, in that instance, it's important to communicate. And there are times in your social setting, even with your rich friends, they'll be like, okay, guys, let's plan to go out here. Everybody walk with the money because, you know, everybody got to pay for their own food. It's that night. You pay for your own food. And you turn up if you want. And those who, some people don't because they'll be like, okay, cool, I ain't coming.
But I don't think generally the friendship should be dependent on whether or not I can afford to go places with you or something like that. Because if we, for example, if we grow up together, like myself and Spooner, as you mentioned earlier, and then he end up gaining some wealth above me, and then he say, hey, let's go out, and I say I can't make it. He shouldn't be offended by that or think that, hey, we're not friends because you can't afford to lie at Marriott and I can't afford it, or it doesn't make sense. Like,
But
that's not
do you think growing up together with a person and then he experiences wealth, you're still living comfortable but not to his level, do you think it affects the quality of the friendship? Because imagine you're the one seeing him every week on Instagram with his new friends or his friends, dinner, or we gone to a room.
Yeah, that's what I was about to touch on just now.
And you were there feeling left out, and even sometimes you don't even get invited anymore because he might be saying, you know what, it doesn't make sense to invite because the quality of the friendship.
I think to some extent for certain people it would, but for me personally, I don't really matter to me. It doesn't really bother me that much, you understand? It doesn't bother me because I've never been driven by what other people do or whatever it is. I've always had my own, not that I move around with blinders like a horse, but I'm just more, you know, cognizant of what is more important sometimes. I think it mostly stemmed from my values coming up as a child from my parents, because we didn't grow up wealthy, but my mother, she was able to provide a comfortable life, you understand, and that is what I was, because I had rich friends like all the time throughout school, like and it was even worse when I went to Bishop's, right, because obviously everybody behaved like they're there, right, and I was like, what is going on here? My friends, every weekend, almost every weekend after lessons or so, they gone somewhere do something crazy, fancy. I wasn't really bothered by that, and I think that has helped to mold me even further now in life, you know. So I'm a bit more satisfied sometimes. It doesn't bother me that much.
I'm at a place where, so I have this group of friends, and they like going out. I don't like going out. Like, there was one point in time where they probably would, you know, a group of friends were gonna say, yeah, I would like to go, but I don't really like the outside too much, so I prefer to stay indoors. So it's come to a point where one of them said to me, you know, you have something, you're the last person we think to invite because you always say no. And one day I was sitting and I was thinking, and then I went into the group on WhatsApp and I said, ladies, listen to this. We have been friends for over 10 years, but what have we achieved as a group of friends? Outside of going out together, outside of today's your birthday, we go out. Outside of that, and everybody came and they were like, yeah.
If I was the admin, I'd remove.
Oh, I'm the admin.
Wow. Okay, bye guys.
No. So everybody came in. I secret girl. I don't mind. I'm at a place where I really don't mind. And one person came in and she was like, oh, she likes going out because she's stressed a lot and things. But then I was like, yeah, but when you go out, you stress because of finances, where you are financially. When you go out, you take away from what you already have.
Then you're gonna be more stressed.
Just for one night of peace, and then tomorrow you're stressed again. So it's like you're stuck in a cycle. So I was like, why?
So I'll start from the top, right? And it was very funny to me when Matthew invited me on this episode specifically with this topic, right? Because this is something that I have definitely had experiences with, and even to this day. And one thing I want to start with is saying that I am very grateful for the group of friends that I have, because I mean most of us came from since school days, so they know me, right? How I was from even since school days. And what I want to say is, I live based on I believe in your network determines your net worth. All right, and not saying that, oh, I'm just gonna go around rich people just because. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, let's just say I want to go to some expo or some trade show rather than going to by the bar and drink or something like that, where they might be predominantly wealthier people. So maybe I'm just trying to, gain more knowledge and, different things, and just try to learn things that will help me to reach to that stage. Now, fine, I might have friends that might say, man, I ain't really that from there right now. I want to go drink, basically, right? And that's fine. They know me and I know them. So I know the events that most times they would not want to go to. All right, so I might go and I would be like, hey, and that's why I think sometimes you class your friends sometimes, you have different groups of friends. Right, exactly, because you know who is going to be interested in different things. So I think that is also important, right? So that, and also understanding in the friendship, because sometimes I would go to those different, what you would call high-class shows or whatever, and with different groups of friends. And when I go back to my friends that we would just go drink a beer somewhere, there's no animosity there. It's not like, oh, you don't went out with. Right, exactly. Right, exactly. So it comes back to understanding, and understanding. That's one of the main things. So your network determines your net worth. That's how I live. So I try to do different things to gain more knowledge at times. I might go out with Keoma, since Keoma was like a big lawyer and thing, I might be like, I want to learn, gain some free game and things like that. Different business ventures and these different types of things. And that way, you kind of become an all-around individual, because that's how I try to live.
I think your core group of friends is important too. Yes, you have classes of friends, but who's your core group? Right. Correct. So for me, it was in my core friend group. There are certain things that we talk about. For example, last year I had an epiphany. So I decided on this silly no shopping 2022. But I was also thinking about things like life insurance, health insurance. How do I go about getting my own home? And the place that I go to talk about those things is my core friends group. In that WhatsApp group, I'm like, hey guys, life insurance, health insurance. I met with various agents. Here is what I found out. You guys should get your act together. What do you think? What can you afford? And those are the things we talk about. Then there are other friends group where maybe we talk about fashion. Maybe we talk about events that are coming up that we want to go to, because it's not every friend group that's going to want to hear me drone on and on about, hey, get your insurance. They're going to be like, oh, she's trying to be our mother, right? So it's not everybody that kind of content is for. So I know who are my core, and I know what I get from my core and what I give. Okay, so I know who are my core, what I get from my core, and also what I give to my core. There's not everything that I give to my core friends that I'll give to all the other groups of friends. And I'm sure it's the same for them. There are some friends who may have opportunities to invest, and maybe they won't put me on because I'm not in their core group, but that's okay. So I think for me, understanding who's my core was very important, and what kind of information I could share and gain from my core was important too.
Before I circle back to what else you just mentioned, have any of you guys been accused of being rich and switch? Like, as Dwight mentioned, you grew up with a core group of friends, and when you achieve a certain level of success, even though it might not be the reality, you're accused of being rich and switch, because you might start to hang out with more persons in that specific economic stratosphere.
I think in fact, of recent, I've been accused of that. But I think it was unnecessary and unwarranted because it is not that I would have switched. It's that sometimes I'm more focused on other things and the timing. Because like some of my friends, like I said, I grew up with, we used to lime a lot. Almost every day, every weekend, we lime, always hanging out. So there are times now I'm not able to do that. And it's beyond having more finances being available to me. It's more about family, timings, because I'm still studying as well. So many things just keep happening all the time. So you don't actually get the time to actually go and settle or sit sometimes. And most of the time when you actually hang out with your friends is sometimes out of convenience. It's not like you don't get to plan like I want to lime tonight or I want to hang out tomorrow. It's like, hey, I have a time, y'all want to grab a beer? Grab a beer, and it ends up moving beyond
I think
that.
something that we ought to appreciate that life really is moving. Relationships form every day, and you know we grow out.
Die too, yeah.
Yeah, and they die, and that's okay.
And that should be okay
Yeah,
too.
and you will, because of the kind of work I do, I spend a lot of time with my colleagues. Like every day you see them, and even when we like out in a social setting, we talk about work. Like you're out trying to have fun, but then we finding jokes about work jokes, lawyer jokes, right?
And I'm sure you have friends from before.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's not that your appreciation for the friends from before has changed. It's just that, you spend a lot of time with this set of people. And, things have it's not rich and switch, but it's just...
That's the reason why I started the conversation in the WhatsApp group, because my core group of people, I don't know if you realize by now, but it's my family. So that's my core group of people. Like if I get an idea, my siblings, I have a brother and a sister, we go into the siblings group and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? This opportunity pops up. So it's like myself and my siblings. But then I realized like these girls might think I'm avoiding them or something, but to be very honest, if I sit and think about it, I do not want to live a life of going out, because what I said in the group was we're almost 30. Very scary, but...
Hey, I'm 30.
No, I mean...
Like the end of it.
It's not. Society kind of makes it scary for us. But what I said is, when we hit 30, what can you look back and say that you've achieved? Because...
30 or being at that age is all about where you are in life. And if you're satisfied what you'd have done at that time or at that age where you are, you won't feel any way about it.
I asked them, I said, when we get to that age, will you look back and think, I'm comfortable where I am? Or would you still be on this party thing? And then I presented an investment opportunity that
once you're comfortable and happy, then you could party away. Like, hey,
I know financially where the group is. So I don't want to be accused of being rich and switch because I want to go out with you guys. But I just want you to see my train of thought is that when I get to this age or when I get to somewhere, let's say it's not 30, but it's next 5 years, what have I achieved? I just come in the group. Oh, hi guys, how you doing? We talk this, we go out, we come back. No, I want my friends as if I hold you close, we must be able to go somewhere together, do something together. I mustn't have my house and then you don't have a house. And if I invite everybody, you feel in a way because I got the house and you think. And then if I say I'm saving for this and for this and for this, cut me out of all the parties. I'll be there at birthdays. If someone dies in your family, I'll be there. I'll be there at the major events. But the partying thing, understand that right now, no. If you want to call me rich and switch, because I will go to things that can build my knowledge. Right. I will go to things that can help me go further in life. So if you don't want to go to it, if you don't want to come and you want to come switch for that, then that's on you.
Be it.
But say one, say two on the rich and switch.
topic. I haven't been called rich and switch, maybe because I'm not rich yet. Yet. But I feel like I'm the friend who likes to bring my friends along, who likes to put people on, right? So if I see an opportunity, I'm coming back to my friends and I'm saying, hey, this is something that we can do. If they don't want to capitalize on it, fine. But I did my part as a good friend to share. But there are some friends that don't share. They keep everything to themselves. They think that there's not enough sunshine to go around. That's a rich and switch type of friend. And that's the kind of friend. Yeah, that's the kind of friend that you don't need.
Yeah. That makes all the difference for it, because that's one of the things I was about to say.
Because just the other day I was reflecting with a friend who presented an opportunity to me that she had taken hold of, and I followed her advice, and I was now looking back 3 years and I'm like, wow. And I was now circling back and thanking her for, I'm like, hey, I now realize this thing that I got was because of you, like literally staring me. Like she fight me down. She's like, listen, do this now, do this, go do this now. And I'm like, wow, thank you for, being that person and that kind of friend.
We all need
that
friend. I'm that friend. My friends come back the other day, about 3 of them came back and said, oh my gosh, thank you for sending me the job thing. I got the job. And I'm like,
those are the kind of friends you need.
What job? I'm like, what do you do? He's like, oh, you sent me this flyer. I'm like, yeah, because I know you needed a job, and I just, everything I see, because I started on LinkedIn, I think it was last year, and I realized that LinkedIn can build,
more young people need to tap into.
I realized that last
year. Yeah, LinkedIn can.
No, it's legit. More people need to tap into that, and that's the thing. You might find that out in your friends group. Now it's your responsibility, I believe, to share that information.
Yeah.
And I think what everyone is saying boils down back to having these conversations with your friends. You need to have friends that you're able to openly and honestly communicate with. And as Miracle mentioned, as we transition in life, our values change, or we have different values from our friends. So for example, it isn't always the case whereby the person is in a lesser financial position, but me and Dwight grew up as friends, and Dwight gets married, has 2 children. Both of us are working for $500,000 a month. I'm single. Obviously,
his 500,000 is yes.
He has different priorities now.
Correct.
So he has to take care of his wife, his children. I can spend my 500 by myself. So we have to understand that as we grow up, as young adults, different situations happen in our lives, and it would cause us to spend our money differently. Now, it's also important to communicate with your friends about your values. Now, do you guys have conversations about the amount of money you make? Because I heard unwritten rule mentioned quite a few times, and I don't think among your core friends that there should be unwritten rules. Everything should be open, because unwritten rules leave things up for interpretation and assumptions. Yeah. And you might interpret wrong, or you might assume wrong. So, because I don't know all of my friends' exact salary, but we have discussions.
In the range.
Yes. If
my best friend asked me how much money I made, right? How much money I make. And I had no reason to lie to him. But because I don't like to discuss my finances with people, I'm not at that place where I feel comfortable. And it's nothing wrong with him. It's just that, I don't know, probably how I was grown or something.
Is he watching this show?
He probably is going to be.
Ask the question.
Samuel, I lied, bro.
I think personally it's something that I don't have a problem with. But I try not to disclose it sometimes, because sometimes people might feel like you're boasting about it. So you have to be competing. You have to be conscious of that. But some people, for personally, try not to do it because they might think, if this man know how much money I'm making, he might want to come and borrow from me. He might thinking that I could help he and everything and all this other thing. So it's something you have to be careful about how and who and when you disclose that to certain people, because people take it the wrong way sometimes.
For my core friends and I, we know how much money each other make.
Like the exact dollar amount?
Yeah, we do. The reason why we know is because we're always having conversations about how to increase our earnings, how to get more passive income, the things that we want to do with this money. And I remember one of our friends, she was suggesting that we should invest in property together. So I was like, okay, how much money do we have around the table? Because if we're saying we're going to invest in this property and we want to have equal contributions, can we realistically expect a person to give X amount when we don't know that they have X amount to give?
Yes.
So for me, I was like, okay, we just put it, I put mine out there, they put theirs out there. I don't think we have any reason to lie to each other. At least I did not lie. And we were like, okay, realistically, this is what we have. This is what we can do. This is what we can expect from everyone. And if somebody is gonna fall short, then okay, who among you thinks that you have more flexibility to fill that gap? That's why we had that
I feel like
conversation.
there's an ego/man element to it as well. Where it's different for men.
It's different for men.
Yeah,
It is very
it is.
different for men.
Man.
That's why. So,
Like for my group of friends, for my core group of friends,
Yeah.
they do not know, or I don't know the exact dollar amount salary,
know the range.
but you know the range. You know
the range.
Right. You know that. I know this man can afford this bottle of wine, but then I know that this one could probably buy a beer. You know, like you know the range, so to speak. So I don't think you don't necessarily discuss the exact dollar amount. But I thank God for my group of friends though. Big up the core group. I think they know who they are, right?
Not continuation.
Yeah.
I think there are positives for them knowing. One,
True.
in a sense, if I'm going to a job, an interview, I let my friends know. They would help me with how to negotiate my salary. Also, they might know another person who, let's say, might be an auditor. If I want to be an auditor in another company, how much that person is making. Yeah. They can come and tell me, hey, this is the salary for this job. Ensure that you negotiate above this amount. Like, when I was starting Common Sense, I had no clue about sponsorship and all of this stuff. I had to go to one of my core friends who had previous experience in it, and he shared with me, all right, this is how much I get from this. This is what he believes I can get, and stuff like that. So that level of transparency and honesty, I think, has its positives.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to know the quality of your friendship, because it can be a breeding ground for resentment, envy, and jealousy. Yeah. And I think many times people try to deny that those are feelings that they have.
True.
I can't say at no point in time have a feeling of envy ever come into my mind or into my heart. How you respond to that is what will dictate whether you're a good friend or not. But the feelings or the thoughts come sometimes, especially sometimes I'm motivated or inspired when I see a friend achieve this. It pushes you. So I think that level of transparency and honesty has its positives. But like Dwight mentioned, you may not want to tell a friend, because as soon as they see you reach a certain amount, hey, I could borrow 10,000, I could borrow this, and they start to see you as Santa Claus, whereby you're just using your friendship.
I don't have those kind of friends. I don't have those kind of friends. If they need something, they're going to need it. That's fine. They need it. I understand, and they're going to explain, okay, this is what I need, and this one. And I'm the type of friend, I don't necessarily even, sometimes I just give my friends sometimes just because, a lot of times, right? But it depends on like your situation. Like if I know, and that's the thing, you might not know like I said, a dollar amount and all of that, but you might know their situation. Like you probably might know, oh, they probably lost their job, or they probably, so you don't necessarily know all that, but you might just try to help them out in that kind of way. And I am that type of friend. So things like that, yeah, I mean,
I have friends like who honestly know how much money I make, and they make less money than I do. But the thing about it, I always have open heart for some reason. Yeah. If they come to me and say, Dwight, this is the situation, if I can, I will. And I don't think that because our lives are totally different. Like Matthew mentioned, hey, I have a family, you do not have a family. So even if I'm making more money, it doesn't mean that I have more available income or disposable income to give to you because I'm making more. So you must understand that if I say, hey, I have or I don't have, then it shouldn't be a problem. If I have, I always do.
Something I consider myself to be a very understanding person. I will help. People come with a sad story and I'll, all right, cool. I'll say, I could help you out.
Why are you calling it a sad story?
Because it is a sad story. It's a sad story. I feel sad, and they tell you for you to feel sad. But there are two things I detest. One is like a sense of entitlement. When people come and they're like
you have to.
Oh yeah.
I did to give them
So that entitlement. Oh, look how much money you make. It's a big lie and you.
But I work for that. I
think-
Oh.
No, but you see, for me,
know.
It happens more among your family members.
Yeah.
We can touch on that next week.
No, but that. So entitlement and
That's a very
when
big
somebody using you, like
Blatantly.
there are friendships that I have had to let go because of just somebody coming to you consistently to play on that soft side of you.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to help somebody out because you think you have a good friendship with the person from years ago, and then you realize, hey, there's no friendship here. Like there's literally no friendship here. Like this person reaches out
only when.
only, and I'm like, wow. So that requires some thinking on your part. Like, hey, is this really a friendship? And can I let this go? Because is it benefiting
You in any type of way.
Is it benefiting me? And is this the only benefit I'm giving this person? I have had to let friendships go. So a question I wanted to ask is, how do you deal with, because I have some of my best friends have never asked me for a cent or for anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would say to myself, wow, Lord, I want to keep being friends with this person. Please don't let her ask me. Please don't let her ask me. What's true? I got close family. I got a cousin. Her and I grew up tight. She has never. The only time she's asked me for money was one time her bag got stolen, right? And 2 days after, she's like, I got your money. I'm like, all right, I ain't ready for it. And a week after, she's like, I got your money. I'm like, all right, chill, I know you live it. I ain't ready for it, and I forget. And she's like, so she came up, she's like, why look your money, right?
Yeah.
And that for me was like, wow, she's never asked me for anything. And this time,
Run you down to pay you.
run me down to pay me back. But then, so how do you deal when you have like friends who take advantage of that complex, and you feel like it, you're just being used? Is that a friendship that you let go, or do
Snip, bye. But first of all, you have a conversation with them to let them know.
easy conversation?
But you're an adult. Remember you said you transitioned into adulthood? So you gotta boss up and have that conversation. For me, for example, my friends will say that I'm like the blunt friend. I'm the one who will have that hard conversation like, hey, we need to talk about this thing. What is going on? And then if at the end of that conversation, we can't be reconciled because you're mad at me for speaking my truth, then we can't be friends.
Yeah.
It was lovely, but not to continue. I wish you the best, and I'm about my business. I make no excuses for that, because at the end of the day, we all have challenges. We're all working for this money that we're getting. Okay, some people get in mining. I wish I was one, but still, even if you're getting mining, they're doing some kind of work for that one.
I don't wish I was one.
Sorry. I'm kidding. But have the conversation.
I'm practically the opposite of you. I think it would take long for me to actually say to somebody, even after recognizing that they're doing something negative, and just coming to me. Because you see, the thing about it for me, I think what has got me like this, basically, I grew up very humble, and I think everything that I've acquired, practically everything, apart from me working hard for it, I have gotten assistance from.
Yeah.
Either whether, forgetting the money, even I might know this man might be able to help me with this here. You might be able to help me with that. You might be able to help me with that. But all of that now contributed to me having what I have and where I am, you understand? And even from a financial perspective, when I was now building my home, I literally was trying to save everything that I had to do that. And I had friends I didn't want to go out at all because I couldn't afford it. They were like, hey, Dwight, I know you're doing this. And they, mind you, they didn't have their own homes, but they know I was building my home. And they were like, hey, come let me go online. I said, can't pay no bill, y'all know that. They're like, we got you. We know you're trying to do this.
Are they the same friends who are now taking advantage of you?
No.
Exactly.
But I'm saying, some people might be able to have different types of friends. Somebody might be able to help you, some may not be able to help you. Some you always have to help them. But I think because people have helped me, I'm willing to help people.
Willing to be taken advantage.
I don't know if it's an advantage. I don't always see it in the light of taking advantage.
I have no problem helping somebody who's going through a rough patch.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a thin line.
But then it goes back to the core value. Am I getting anything from this? And it doesn't have to be anything financial or nothing, material. Yeah. But do we communicate at a level where we're friends?
Yeah, is this
like, is there a connection? Is it a friendship, or are you just dropping in and say, hey, in a tough spot, please, and there's not.
Me, it doesn't matter if we're close or not. If you're in a tough spot and you come to me, and I will. And before, like one of the end of the year talks, my brother had with me was, you're a bit too willing. One of the end of the year talks was that you're a bit too willing because I can see you didn't even tell me your story yet. I want to know your story. I want to know what happened and be like, how much you got yet? Right? So I had to learn that sometimes, like when you have your goals to achieve, sometimes you're enabling people. Like they can just put aside what they have because they know that miracle can come. And as soon as she see me looking sad, she be like, how much you got good? So there was this one time when this guy, he was like a family friend of mine. He called, never called before. And he said, I wouldn't have called you if I didn't need it. So I said, okay. And he called the figure. And I said, well, I got a direct amount home. You could come for it. He said, where you living? So, all right, good. Give him the address, he come. On his way, he called and he said, you could double it? I'm like, what? Whoa. Bro, this is the first red flag, right? But that's like Soilers Carnival or something. It's like, I went ahead.
Them like flowers.
I said, I can't double it, but I can add a little more to it because I would ask my mother. So I added, right? He said, I'm getting paid in a week, so you'll get back this money.
Oh, I've heard that too.
The week comes, and I don't run people down for stuff. If you tell me a week, I can give you a week, I give you 2 weeks.
After that, right?
I give you 3 weeks, I give you the next payday, and then I might message you and be like, hi, how things going, but not come outright and say hi. So the week passed, the month passed, the next month passed, and like, remember my core friends? Remember my core friends are my siblings, right? So I told them this story and it's like, you telling mommy? Like,
That's what hurts a friendship. I find that to be very disrespectful, not boring.
Extremely.
When you say that you're going to pay back somebody, and then if the person got to come and ask you, or if time passes, I'm like, how could you not have that kind of respect for your friend? Like, how could you not value the friendship?
Me.
But is it your friend? I have two principles when it comes to lending people money. My core friends whose values who I know will give me back my money, I would give them all my money, and I will cook every day and not eat on the road. If I gotta walk to work, fine. Those are my core friends. They can borrow how much ever they want from me. I know I'm gonna get it back. Then there are people who are outside of my core group of friends. I think about the amount that they want. If it's an amount I can afford to lose, then I'm gonna lend it to them.
I now have that on.
Good, so that if they don't pay it back, well, fine. It's not gonna hurt me and put me in a dire situation. I just know next time they can't get any money from me.
Well, that's
But I'm not gonna be naive.
I'm about being
Like, and that's what I was about to mention after she said, I don't care who you are, I want you to come with your story, whatever.
I care.
I'm about giving, but not being gullible at the same time, right? I think that's a very big thing because thankfully for me as well, my core group of friends, I've never really like, hey, I really like, I've never really had that, that type of experience. But I've had people like from outside, like people that you never even, like this person is probably just a friend on Facebook.
People give me car
Like, bro, and they just message like, yo, I'm in a spot right now, and da. I mean, of course, yeah, you want to be willing and giving it, whatever. But then at the same point in time, you can't be gullible to the point that you just give away, because at the end of the day, you're working for this money, so you gotta value it. Right? You gotta value what is yours at the end of the day. It's not about being stingy, as Guyanese would say, but it's about, understand that you worked for this money, it's yours, and you have to prioritize you. As selfish as people might like to make that, so you need to prioritize yourself first.
But the Bible also says that you have to be good stewards of what you've been given.
Yeah.
So there are people that have come into my Facebook inbox and they have given me sad stories, and I've given them money, but small amounts that I felt like was a part of my disposable income. And if it is a cause, like one girl told me she had children and she needed food, I was like, first time I gave her money. The second time I got a little wiser. I was like, let me go and buy these groceries and carry it to her house. And I went, and there were indeed 3 small children there, and the situation looked a little bit bleak. So I'm like, you don't be just giving away your money Wild West. Like, you gotta be wise. Otherwise, you're never gonna get rich. Like, you're never gonna get rich.
And nothing about persons like knowing your financial bracket. So outside of my siblings, I have a best friend. So a geologist. So we know how much each other makes. So we negotiate. Like, if we're going for a job or you're going to apply for a job, she says like, how much you think? Like, hey, no less than this. Don't do it. So like, if she knows how much I make, I know how much she makes. My siblings know to the dollar how much taxes come out from my salary.
Be like sending the to the group.
We have no problem with that. But then there are persons, I have encountered persons who say, please do this now. Don't act like you can't afford it.
Yeah.
And I have to look at them like,
Entitlement. That's what Keoma.
I can't. I can't afford it.
No.
No.
I don't talk about my finances. You don't know my liabilities every month. And then you come in and think you're like, oh, all right.
You don't look like you're struggling. Did I promise you struggle? Did I promise you struggle?
If it's one thing I learned growing up, it's never look like what you're going through.
Exactly.
I mean, if it's overwhelming and you're a bit down, but in your appearance, your clothes, people don't
my grandmother used to press the clothes that we played in the yard with. She used to press those clothes.
Yeah. No, well, not to that
She's
extent,
a serious
but
lady.
people don't have to know. Like, you could walk at your shoe, you know when your shoe bursts when you smile, you put a pin at the bottom. You could walk like this, you just buy the shoe. And people won't know the situation that you're going through, but the persons who feel
exactly
good, not because they don't look like.
Do you guys have these awkward conversations with your friends?
Yeah, everybody's here. But, hey, everybody, say hi to Julie in New Mexico.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Okay, while Ross is on the phone, everybody owes me $62 for his birthday.
Is there any chance that you're rounding up from, like from like 20?
Hey, come on, we got the gift, the concert, and the cake. Do we need a cake? Look, guys, I know it's a little steep.
Whoosh.
But it's Ross.
Yeah,
it's all right. Yeah, you're right. All right? Okay, I'll see you guys later. I gotta go do a thing.
Okay, sweetie, I'll call you later tonight. Whoa. Hey, you're not really gonna go through with this, are you?
You know, I think I might just.
So, what are you guys doing for dinner tonight?
Well, I guess I gotta start saving up for Ross's birthday, so I guess I'll just stay home and eat dust bunnies.
Can you believe how much this is gonna cost?
Do you guys ever get the feeling that Chandler and those guys just don't get that we don't make as much money as they do?
Yes, yeah.
Really?
It's like they're always saying, let's go here, let's go there. Like we can afford to go here and there.
Yes, yes, and we always have to go to, you know, someplace nice. You know? God, it's not like we can say anything about it, because, like, this is a birthday thing, you know, and it's for Ross.
For Ross.
For Ross.
Ross.
Oh, my God. Hey.
Hi.
What? Okay, I'm at work. It's an ordinary day, you know, chop, 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 saute, saute, saute. All of a sudden, Leon, the manager, calls me into his office. Turns out they fired the head lunch chef, and guess who got the job?
If it's not you, this is a horrible story.
Fortunately, it is me.
Oh. And they made me head of purchasing. Thank you very much. So cool. Anyway, I just ran into Chandler and Ross downstairs, and I think we should go out and celebrate, you know, someplace nice.
Someplace nice. How much do you think I can get for my kidney?